Alrighty then, folks, we are back with some more SD Gundam G Generations Genesis, and we're about to do the final stage in Blue Destiny, but before that, we got some interluding business to do. So I have done some more training. I did some training in between the first and the second level, and then in between the last two levels I did even more training. Mainly I trained these guys. So I totally fucked up and forgot to put a guest in this ship. Guests affect the experience gained. Like, it affects everyone in this ship, the experience they gain. So this whole ship was getting about half the experience of everyone else. Ironically, Nina actually has pretty good charm. I threw Garma in this one because Garma had the best out of all of the people we had. And then I put Nina in this one because she had the second highest, which is weird. Like, it's only 150, but it's better than everyone else. We'll eventually change that out. Sadly, Lacus isn't in this game, or I'd throw her in because she's amazingly charming or some shit, but whatever. Anyway, so I threw that in, I threw Oliver in, I threw Mirai in. I originally had Mirai in this one, but it felt weird, so I put her with Bright. And I threw Elinode in this, and some of our other custom characters to get the stats up there. I really should replace these guys. I don't know who they are, so I don't really care about replacing them. But anyway, starting on our Flying Onion, the Adzamu. So I did a little bit of training, and we either had the choice between the Luna tank, which is basically just a large round ball that shoots laser beams. I don't know what game that's from. It has to be from a game, though. Probably from, like, Mobile Tactics 0079 or something like that, which was a Japanese game Bandai made for the Apple. Like, it's for, like, the Macintosh or something like that. But to play it on Windows, you have to emulate it through an emulator, which is very, very strange. But, you mean, like, whatever. I can play it if I wanted to, I just don't know how exactly. I've looked into it, but I don't know. Or we can get the Olga, which is the add-on from Rise from the Ashes. Now, I remember distinctly cheating this one. I don't remember how. I think, like, I got above it and it just couldn't shoot at me or something like that. And I unloaded it with a rocket launcher. Like, we're gonna go with that one, because all of them are the exact same thing, but the Luna tank is a little less exciting. I might show that one off, but it's because it works everywhere, but, like, maybe not. I'll probably do it on my own time. Yeah, so we got the ads on Olga. As far as the... Oops, I meant to go to transform. As far as the bow goes, we can't exchange it for anything I really want. Maybe the Zommel. But with the Zommel, we can get it from a Hidalfer. And then, like, we could go Hidalfer, Rhinoceros, Zommel kind of thing. That's what I think I'm going to do for the next campaign, just because we need a ground mobile suit. We need a ground mobile suit that's not an Adzom, I think. We aren't actually able to use this anyway in this campaign, or in this battle, because this one's in space. So we're going to go grab our Beta Ziru. But, like, all the Adzoms are the same, so I don't really feel it necessary to have to show them off. We want Mega Movement and a Sealant Launcher. Not that I use the Sealant Launcher when I record very much, but I use it when I train, and it helps a lot. So we're gonna stand the bow down since I don't want to develop it into anything, and I don't want to trade it into anything. And as it's been pointed out to me, I've been complaining that, like, I said getting another Sazabi to get a new Gundam would have been way too expensive. But, like, I have almost unlimited money. I have a direct trade between time and money, and it's like every 15 minutes I get enough to afford one of these things. So we're gonna buy another one, even though I've already showed it off. I just like the Sazabi. And we're either gonna get a Psycho Doga or a new Gundam out of it. I haven't decided yet. But I think we're going to get a new Gundam and then just throw Char into something new. Maybe a Gelgoog variant. I thought about giving him his personal Gelgoog, but then I realized, like, it's going to have a slight cutscene and no new animation, so I'm not going to bother. And then we have the Dovin Wolf, which I have trained it more than it needed to be. So with the choice between the Mark V, this is the Gundam Mark V. I don't know why I thought it was Capricorn. It's in fact a Brave Cod. They're both Titans officers and they both look exactly the same, but they have a different head shape. And I blame that on the artist because he draws all his characters looking vaguely the same. You know, Jared and Buren, him and Capricorn, Look at Bright and Shirako sometime. Like, they have the same character model, just different hair. It's kind of ridiculous. But this is the... So, the Mark V was sent from with a fleet of AUG ships to go help attack the Pazun asteroid, which was controlled by the training squad, one of the training squads for the Titans, who called themselves the New Dissidents. For some reason, I can't remember exactly what the analogy was, but they like took two English words and made it. It was weird. But yeah, so they're called the New Dissidents. And they like took over the Pazun asteroid base, which is where Xeon had a lot of its production facilities. And like it was major R&D. It's not in any game I've seen, but it's there. And like they declared their independence because they're gonna like try to rebuild the Titans or some shit, or get all the Titans to join them. I'm not exactly sure. But this AUG fleet comes in and like they're gonna help out this other AUG fleet. But then the Admiral, for some reason, decides to defect and nobody wants to talk against the Admiral. Well, one ship tries to disobey his orders and they destroy the ship, so everyone's afraid of doing it. So they all join with the new Dissidents and move to Ares City, which is at the bottom of the moon. It's supposed to be like Von Braun on the bottom kind of thing. And from there, they, for some reason, in storage, they had the Mark V, and they give it to the main... they give it to Brave Cod, who's the main bad guy in the story and the leader of the New Dissidents. And they paint it Titans colors, except for they paint it blue. And it's... So, the Mark V, it's an Incom system, I think. Yeah, it's Incom, not Psychomu. But I believe I believe he's a new type. Ryu Roots isn't. He's just had his giant robot fall in love with him. But yeah, so that's the Mark V. It's also from Gundam Sentinel, if you're wondering. Sadly, I don't think this game has the Augustus Institute paint job, which is basically white and red. They have it in Garen's Greed, which is pretty cool. I haven't unlocked this specific suit in Garen's Greed, but I've unlocked the Augustus version. And then next we have the Dovin Wolf of the sleeves. Like, I just assume all the sleeves have everything now, but I didn't know they had one. But I really like the paint job on this one more than I do the standard Dovin Wolf. Not a big fan of the Seafoam Green. Beyond that, we have the Silver Bullet, which the guy we unlocked for this is the main guardian, or bodyguard of CM Vist, the head of the Vist Foundation. This is the Silver Bullet, which was developed off of the Dovin Wolf, but it's like a ridiculously powerful Gundam. Like, it's almost as powerful as a unicorn kind of thing. But this one's also Incom. There's a bits version of it, but you have to beat a whole campaign on extra hard, which I'll do soon. Basically, to beat any campaign on extra, you just need all your units to have over 300 stats and everything. But I'll do it once I get really good units. And then there's the Psycho Gundam Mark II, or the original Psycho Gundam, which, you know, we unlocked for forgetting and all that jazz, but it's not really exciting. We do need new Federation mobile armors, but I'll get that in my own time, because it's just going to be annoying me trying to find a new mobile suit. So we're going to get the Silver Bullet, because why not? And we unlock Chan Gai, I think his name is? I forget. Then moving on to Sima, we only have one choice, which is the Desert Gelgoog. So this is from Unicorn. I've never actually heard of it, but it's basically a Gelgoog upgraded to work in the desert. Basically its filters are better, and yeah, that's all I can really think of is the filters are improved. And it has a laser gun mounted on its arm, but we've seen a couple of mobile suits that have that right now. So this is actually in Unicorn, and I looked it up. It's there for a grand total of about 7 seconds. It's, I think, victim number 4 of the Bar-Lant custom. It just, like, stabs it in the face, and it's gone. Like, I hadn't noticed it the original time I watched it, and if I hadn't, like, looked for it specifically, I wouldn't have been able to find it. We're gonna get that. It doesn't actually turn into anything we want, but we'll finally get the goddamn Garibaldi, so, like, we'll use it once. As far as Melit's Action Zaku goes, so we have the choice between the FZ, like I said, we would take the Hyzax or the Zaku 3. So, in my own time, and while I was checking, I got I bought another version of his Action Zaku, and I gave it to a separate pilot, one of the custom characters, and saw if the animations were the same. They are exactly the same, which is kind of disappointing. But, so I have an Action Zaku that's level 2, so we can go get the FZ with that. So, with this one, I think we're going to go get the Zaku 3. Because we're probably not going to get it any other way. But we're going to put that away, and we're going to go grab the other one, which would be here. And we are going to go develop it into the FZ. We'll get the Hyzak later, which I'm pretty sure this can turn into a Hyzak. Or not. I'm not actually sure what that one is. Since its stats are almost exactly identical, I'm assuming it's like the Cyclops Team Zaku 2 or something, or this is the actual Zaku 2 Kai. Something weird like that, but we're gonna go with it. We'll just roll, it's fine. As far as Rumble goes, with the Marasai, we have the choice between the Hyzaks, actually unlocking the Marasai, which we hadn't before, or getting a Gyaradoga. And while I do want to get these guys, I think we're gonna go Gyaradoga, because we can just get those guys later. I'm not sure what most of these are. I know one's gonna be a Psychodoga. This is probably the Heavy Arms type. That's probably the Girazulu. No, that's probably the Heavy Arms type. But these are level 3 and 4, so we'll figure it out. As far as equipment goes on this, it's basically a bog standard mobile suit with a Sturmfaust, which is a hand rocket propelled grenade. As weird as that sounds, like go look up the Sturmfaust in real life. It's a German World War II thing. We have Doug Schneid's Effort. So that thing it can turn into is the Effort Schneid. See, here's the thing. I thought these were both the same mobile suit because they're both purple, they both have a bard each, and they have the exact same name. But instead of Doug Schneid, it's Effort Schneid. Like, my god, it's slight variation. But this one's a lot better. This is probably the unicorn version versus Schneid's Effort, which is the one from the 1 Year War, kind of. But I haven't showed you the shotgun or the machine gun on the Schneid, or, well, Schneid's Effort. So, we aren't going to get rid of it just yet. We'll get rid of it in a little bit. Though we have to stand this one by and go grab something else for Johnny Rin to use, because we're doing a space stage. We could give him the Zaku 3, you know, we just unlocked it. But I think we might give him the Sleeves Galgoog, because it unlocks a thing. Remember his original Galgoog that I gave him the high mobility for? This is what I turned that Galgoog into. Which, it's basically just a Galgoog with a beam machine gun. Because beam machine guns run on E-Packs instead of directly off the reactor, so they were more powerful. Or, you know what? We're gonna give him something ridiculous. We're giving him that goddamn Geegan. We've had this one sitting around, and this can get us the Luna Tank, or the Draw C. So we might go and do that as well. Probably the Draw C, actually. No, fuck it, we'll figure it out later. I'm not gonna worry about it. And for the Rick Diaz, we can either get the Char's Rick Diaz, the Sturm Diaz, or the Gundam Mark III. And I've decided we're going for the Mark III, just because, while we can get this on another person, why not? That being said, this is actually a Titan suit. It was originally built by the Titans in Kilimanjaro base, I believe? That might be wrong. But it got destroyed when the AUG attacked Kilimanjaro. So Anaheim stole the data somehow, I'm not exactly sure. They rebuilt it for the AUG. So it was originally built by the Titans, but the AUG never used it. All they did is take the data from it to build the Mark IV. But we're going to get it anyway, because why not? The Mark IV will show up eventually. I don't actually think we can get the Mark IV from this, because the Mark IV is completely unrelated. Though I do like how this one looks in, like, the real version of it. As far as the Regelg goes, we have the choice between the mass production Cubile or the Regelg sleeves. We're going to go with the Regelg sleeves for one reason. It's Norris. He has 1 point in Awakening, so any Psychomune system attacks you have will be terrible. Which, you know, is just one, but still. And if we were to get the mass production, we could easily get the Cubile, but we'll do that later with somebody who's actually a new type. Hell, maybe we'll do that with Char. But with the Sleeves Regelg, we have the choice between, I think, the Girazulu, and I'm not sure about this one. It's gonna be something weird, though. Actually, this is probably another Regelg of some description. Like somebody specific Regelg kind of thing. We'll go with that. And on to the Federation side. So we had that full armor Gundam that we were eventually going to get, the heavy full armor Gundam. We'll only be using this once though, because we'll see it again in 0081, but like, it doesn't get us anything we want, because we've already trained all the shit we could have got from it. Though I want to check something real quick. Yeah, we've already got everything. We're basically on to Zato with most of our Gundam picks. Now we have the NTX, which we have the choice between the AUG Mark V or the Mark IV. This is the Gundam Mark IV. This was designed by Augustus Labs to help the Titans against Karaba. Even though they're in Karaba-controlled territory and allied with them. I'm not sure about that, but it used data from the Gundam Mark III. It never actually got to see the light of day, because after it was produced, it was captured by the AUG. It just kind of sat in a warehouse or something for the rest of the war. This is a G-Generations exclusive suit, though. It's never actually been used in anything besides G-Gen, so its canonness is kind of up in the air. The Mark III is canon, though. So we have the choice between the Mark II or the Mark IV. And here's the thing. I don't think we can have the Mark III go into the Mark IV. But we can have the Mark IV go into the Mark V. But I also want to get the Mark II because that'll lead us onto the path of getting better things. Like, you know, the Titans Mark II. Or whatever that is. Though that flies. We're gonna go with the Mark II. We'll get the Mark IV later. If I have to, I'll get it myself. As far as the Delta Gundam goes, which I leave it in the mobile armor form because it's just so much better. We had the choice between the Hyakushiki or the Delta Plus. We've already had the Hyakushiki. We already have the Methus and the Mark III, so those are kind of pointless to get. Though, I will check. I don't think either of these are the Mark IV, so it's all good. I think between these two, we've already seen the Hyakushiki, so we're gonna go with the Delta Plus. Because, why not? This is the one used by Ride in Unicorn. It had all of, like, 2 episodes of screen time before it got destroyed by the Dorn. It's the upgraded version. The frame was fixed, and it no longer bends when it transforms. It uses data from the data discovered during building the Zeta. It's not very much improved, and it's actually about equal to the Rizal. I'm not exactly sure why they used it, besides it's pretty. And on to Sayla, I upgraded her old gun tank into the new gun tank. But here's the weird thing about the gun tank in this game. Look at the top right. It has a C in space. Yeah, you can use the gun tank in space, which I hadn't considered, and I didn't notice till, like, after. I could have trained it really easily, but I did it the hard way. So then we can get the the gun tank 2. But here's the thing, we're about to go into space. So if we do get this, we won't be able to use it. So we're gonna go and set that aside, and we're gonna go through and grab a Saberfish. Or we can grab the full armor Hazel. You know, that one we didn't get to use earlier. Because we went with this one. So, we have a choice. We could also go with the Begro, but we can't fit it. Can't do a Slave Wraith. Still haven't done anything with that. We're gonna go with the Hazel. And then we'll get rid of that after it's over, because this is just showing off the actual unit. And finally onto the Pale Rider, we can finally get the Troutzer right there. You know, we've only been able to do it for like 3 missions. So basically, at the end of Missing Links, from what I'm told, I've never actually beaten the game. I've never got past the 2nd level, but I'll explain why later. Anyway, so at the end of Missing Links, from what I'm told, the Pale Rider is captured by Zeon and taken to Axis because they still had it for some reason. They didn't ditch it. And so Axis needed all the mobile suits they could get after something in Char's Deleted Affair where like 113 mobile suits all got destroyed in one battle. And it was a battle against 2 Salamises, so I don't know what was up about that. But anyway, so Axis took the Pale Rider, they pulled out the cockpit, put in a Xeon one, and then they upgraded everything about it, and they called it the Trotzrider. I don't know why they did, but they made this thing fucking badass. Like, it has an incom system, Tri-Blade, whatever the fuck that is. It has a Knuckle Buster. Like, I want to try this out. Also, well, yeah, it still has the Hades system and magnetic coating. That might have been the reason why they kept it the Hades, which is basically the exam part 2. We have Yazon Zeta Plus. So I got all this training for it in literally 3 engagements. I destroyed some Dops. I don't know how I got that much experience killing Dops, but they were the, like, elite units kind of thing. But we still haven't looked at this yet, but it's basically just a Zeta with a smart gun. But we have two choices of upgrading this. Well, we have up to 5, or up to 4, but I'm gonna wait and show you guys this and possibly get it up to 4 before I do anything with it. But we have the Zeta Plus test type, which, if you look on the left shoulder, I always thought that was the Amuro Ray custom version, but apparently it isn't. This one's land only, though. Basically, this one was developed for high-altitude interceptions. Basically, Amuro would fly really high up in the air and intercept people as they entered or exited the atmosphere. So, he would murder them while they were completely defenseless, unable to do anything else. Which sounds very Amuro-ish to me. But it has the same equipment as the one we have right now. It can transform, but it can't work in space, whereas the one we have can only work in space. And then there's the Hummingbird. I have no idea about this one. I think it's one of the custom versions of the Zeta Plus. Zelta. The Zeta Plus, but I don't know. Then we have that one, which I'm unsure about. But I'm assuming that's just another variant. And we could also make it into the Delta Plus if we wanted. But we don't. As far as the FAS go, as I said before, we're going to get the Double Zeta mass produced, and from there we'll either get the Yagen or whatever that one is. Probably the GM3, but it doesn't look like the GM3 to me. And as far as the Methus goes, we had the choice between the actual Hyakushiki or the Zeta. But here, well, unlocking the Hyakushiki, though we've already used it. But here's the thing, we can get the Zeta with the Hyakushiki, and it'll give us the choice between the Hyakushiki Kai or the Zeta. So, I think we're going to get the Hyakushiki and possibly get the Hyakushiki Kai and get to the Zeta that way. Because, well, we could get the Zeta, we'll get there eventually, it's fine. Plus, once we get the Zeta, there's nowhere to go but down. And for the gun cannon, we're going to get the gun cannon Mark II. The gun cannon Mark II in this game is the end of the line, basically. We can have it go back to the gun cannon and then get the mass production, but I'll do that off camera. The mass production, the only thing interesting it can get us is the gun cannon 2. Nah, you know what, let's go. Well, this one's actually better and it'll help us more, so we'll go with this and then I'll just get off camera. But we just did the thing with the Hyakushiki, so I figured why not do it with this, but, you know, it'll be better this way. This is the gun cannon Mark II, or GM cannon Mark II. This is an upgraded GM cannon to work in 0081, but this was before the era where they realized that having a heavy armored mobile suit that just fired stuff at long range was kind of stupid, and they just started giving their mobile suits a lot bigger guns. But this is a Stardust memory unit, and I think for getting this we get Keith, which is one of the other reasons why I did it. And I think we're actually going to use Keith. But I believe that was the end of it, so let's just do a design run real quick. See if we can unlock anything. Anything cool. We can get the Marchosis? We can get yet another Zaku variant. And it's just another Zaku 1, but I'm not sure what game it's from. So, probably Missing Link. And we can get Resin's Gyaradoga, which is basically a Gyaradoga just blue. Which, I mean, like, if we could get it for free, I would totally just go with that, because I kind of like the coloring on it, I'll be honest here. But, eh. Resin is Char's ace pilot, who's not Guy or Kess. She's like the head of his, like, bodyguards or something. I don't know. But yeah. There's Resin. We'll really get onto her later, but yeah. She's not the best pilot. But yeah, we got 2 new things. And these guys are only slightly better than the Zaku 2, apparently. Yeah, they're only like 10 better than the Zaku 2. Which I guess nothing else is very much better than that, so it's not the worst. Yeah. Is that the last Zaku we have? Oh yeah, and we have Gale Chan, that's his name. I remember the Chan part, I didn't remember Gale. Though, I'm surprised his last name is Chan and not something else, because that's confusing. Yeah, we only had the Black TriStar ones left, I think. And the heavy arms, but I'll get to that. Yeah, we got all of that. Is there any Zakus in here? There's the Rhino, the GMs, that. Oh yeah, it's definitely like Cyclops Team Zaku 2 or some shit. And we need the camphor and we need that, but we'll get to those eventually. Missing link. Oh yeah, so that Machos thing. The Machos Company, special competitive unit established by Caecilia, yeah. Okay, so this is basically just for a specific group. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Excuse me again. Yeah, the exam-derived Hades system. Captured by Xeon remnants, the machine went 10 years worth of upgrades before being handed over to Neo Xeon, takes a blah 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 blah. It has a mono-eyed system instead of the dual-eyed system. Machine name and model number was changed when it was renovated by Neo Xeon forces in Anaheim, so we can blame them too. The Night of Death? Oh, that's cool. We'll get to that later, though. I'll just warn you this now. I'm gonna make fun of the shit of that. Make shit out of that. Like, it's written so badly, and I've read the Japanese, and it's written the exact same way. But anyway, folks, that was a rather long intro. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, you should like. If you didn't, you should dislike. We'll be back for more Monday? This should be coming out as Saturday. Anyway, folks, good night.